Hello and welcome to Europa Universalis 4. I am Lord Forwind here with another how-to achievement video. So this one is for the newest expansion, Cradle of Civilization, and the achievement is Around the World in 80 Years. As a custom nation, up to 400 points in the British region, own New York, San Francisco, Suez, Bombay, Calcutta, Hong Kong, and Yokohama, and it's not telling the rest, but it's by 1524. November 11th, 1524. Anyway, I just managed to get the achievement. This is my second attempt at it, and I'm going to give you guys a brief walkthrough of how to do it. First of all, the places you need, in case you're not familiar with them. Obviously, New York is called Manhattan. I switched back to the English names rather than the local ones. Salian here is actually San Francisco, and then you've got Yokohama over in Japan, which is called Musashi. It's right there. It's the left one, not the right one. I just took two provinces. Canton is located down here in southern China. You've got the Bengal Delta, which I believe is probably Calcutta. Not entirely sure. And then over here we have North Konkan, which actually that might be Calcutta. And of course, the Suez is located in Egypt near the Mamluks. The Suez without a canal. Annoyingly, it was the bottom one. So essentially, I'll run you through the nation, then I'll show the timeline once I'm done. This is a extraordinarily difficult achievement. If you're not really good at the game, I'd first go do the Henry the Navigator achievement as Portugal, which is reach India and Indonesia by 1500 as Portugal, because that's a good preparation achievement for this one. I have a video on that. I'll try and link it below, or else it's in my achievement playlist. That one teaches you a lot about having to colonize, exploiting all the advantages like states and stuff. So, but I'm just going to focus on this one. So I got to design my nation. I designed it to, starting out, have yearly inflation reduction 0.1. I'll come to why I did that. Colonial range plus 40%, just so that I can actually get around past India by 1500, because even with Portugal you can barely get there. Then I took a 1 free colonist, 20 morale of armies, 10% infantry combat ability, 5% manpower recovery speed, which could have actually been manpower modifier or force land limit modifier. I'm not really sure which one was useful. The rest of these are useless. I never got to them. Artillery, first forts, tax, trade efficiency, and I left the land maintenance modifier as default. So once I took that, I spent the rest of my points on making my monarch, who by the way died, so I can't show you it. I made it a 6/6/6 monarch, as young as possible, with the expansionist trait on it. I made the heir the worst possible heir ever, 0/0/0, as young as can be. I made the consort a 0/0/0 consort with a negative trait, which gives you like negative. Both of those give you like -14 to -12, so like 24 free points, which helps. And then for the provinces I took to start with, you have to start in the English area, but it doesn't mean you can't go outside of it. Sadly, you cannot get into Africa with provinces or into Russia. There is a limit, or to the New World. Trust me, I tried. So what I did was I took almost all of England, with the exception over here of Norfolk, Cumbria, Lancashire, and Northumberland up here, which clearly Scotland's conquered. That didn't put me up to the 400 point limit, because you want to get as close as possible. So I jumped down here, took Madeira, and I took the entire coast of Portugal, mainly for the forced land limit and also to prevent Portugal from competing with me in terms of colonizing. Next, I did something really sneaky, and it's why I took the negative 0.10 inflation reduction. I went and I took La Mancha in Spain because it has a gold mine, and I also jumped over here and took Tyrol from Austria for the other gold mine. And by the way, as you can see, I've developed them a little bit, more La Mancha than Tyrol, mainly because Tyrol kept getting conquered. Once you do this, actually, I mean, if you take all this land, 95% of the time you can get an alliance with both Portugal, Castile, and France, and usually Scotland. If you can do that, wonderful. It means you're set for the game and you're pretty safe from fighting wars in Europe. You pretty much just let them handle it because England's a non-threat, and without that, only Aragon and Burgundy are really a problem. In this game, in matter of fact, France hated me, so I ended up getting an alliance with Austria, Castile, and Portugal, because Scotland started out as a rival, as did England. However, England is dead. Scotland became friends. Austria, I didn't really use Austria that much in the war. It got me into too many fights. But I ended up getting an alliance with the Ottomans, mainly because the Ottomans hate the French and the Mamluks, who I had both rivaled. And I used the Ottomans for my war down here against the Mamelukes. I promised them land. That's why they have some of these upper provinces. And they pretty much won the war for me. I might have been able to squeeze it out without them, but you definitely need the Ottomans or Tunis as an ally to even have a hope of beating the new Mamelukes. And obviously you don't have to take as many provinces as I did. You could probably just sneak in here, take these two. Or if your colonial range is far enough, literally just take Suez. Sadly, it has to be colonial range coming this way for that. So other than that, I started off not actually colonizing. That's why I had the colonists. I waited till I got obviously the first colonial idea, and then my first province I took was Cape Verde here. Colonized that because that extends my range considerably. And once I hit tech exploration idea 3, give me a bonus 50 colonial range. I was able to jump over to St. Vincent here really quickly. And I was also able to jump down here to the Gold Coast. Other things, I didn't actually focus either admin power or diplomatic power at the beginning. And I found that to be one of the key things. I let them go. I got level 2 advisors, so I was getting like 13 or so a month, and then or 11 to 13, depending if I was power projected. And I let those kind of go as long as possible. I managed to get, I think, to exploration idea 4 before I got expansion ideas, which is about typical. I had an excess of power, so I developed London to 30 and then again 33. Obviously avoiding diplomatic stuff. That was to get the Age of Discovery 30, own a 30 development province, and then once I hit 1470-ish, I popped the Golden Age, and that saved me a lot of monarch points, obviously. I didn't want to pop it too early because then I wouldn't have it for the late game conquest wars, but if you pop it too late, you don't get the full benefit of it, and it really does help with maxing out both the expansion and the exploration tree, since you have to do both. There's almost no way to get this achievement without getting both. I suppose you could neglect exploration a little bit, but you do have to finish expansion for the claim overseas and trade company regions, which allows you to get the claims on North Konkan, Bengal Delta, Canton. You do have to declare a non-Kazai Bell war on Japan. Usually the daimyos are rebellious though, so that's actually not a big issue. And you have to declare a non-Kazai Bell war on the Mamelukes. So once I got the ideas, I got my second colonist into the Caribbean, heading for Panama in this region. You really want to take Nicoya or Darien here because it flips the ports. Their ports are on the Pacific side, not the Atlantic side. You do, however, have to colonize the Atlantic province that borders them first, I found, because it counts the colonial range apparently around South America rather than just there. But once you do that, it extends your colonial range far enough once you hit Diplotech 9. You don't even have to hit Diplotech 9. It allows you to eventually explore all the way up here to San Francisco region, and that's really all you need. That's the easy part of it all. Obviously, colonizing there, you have to go through Colombia. You can also go around South America. It just takes longer, and I did kind of go around it here with Tierra del Fuego. I think you do need one down here just to extend the range up through here again. But I found going through Panama was the easiest way. In terms of going down Africa, I also did native repression policy, and I made sure to take New World charters from the burghers as much as possible. I gave them both Lisbon and Porto. I had to revoke Lisbon later. That gave me enough to get the plus 10 colonists a year to help colonize faster. Once I hit Gold Coast, I immediately was able to jump down here to Cape of Good Hope because I had hit level 7 colonial range plus the 40 I started with plus the 50% colonial range there. So I essentially had plus 90 colonial range. And of course level 7 is the huge boost for colonial range. Once I got from Cape, I jumped over here to Mauritius. Apologies if I can't say it right. From there I was able to jump over to Belitung, or you can go up here and take the Andamans. It's really your choice. And then if you want, you can jump up here to Taiwan, which I lost my colony due to natives there. But once you complete the expansion idea, you can fabricate claims in these even if you don't technically border them. I was lucky enough to strike Ba'amanis here when they only had like 2 allies and had just fought a war with Gujarat. I was able to land quickly. I have lots of cannon in my army. I had 8 cannon at the time, so I just quickly barraged the fort. Once I took the fort, I marched in here, took this fort, and then was going to head for their capital. I did fight, I think, 1 battle, but I immediately pieced out, just took North Konkan, and that was it. I had already fought the war with the Mamelukes, but I had used the Ottomans for that. I waited to attack both the Mamelukes and Ba'amanis until I got unit pride here for the plus 20 morale of armies. About the same time, it's about 1470-ish. Then I used the golden era, pop that as well. So I'm running around with almost 5 morale at this point in time, which is pretty ridiculous. Obviously, I tried to get a morale advisor here. Sadly, it was level 3. But I was able to easily beat their armies. It was just a matter of could I could my manpower reinforce fast enough, and did I have enough manpower to win the war? Luckily, I did. They usually won't declare war for a single province, especially if you have allies in Europe like Spain, Austria, France, Scotland, or the Ottomans. Usually just the Ottomans. Then I actually ignored Bengal, because the hardest part of the game is not beating the Ming, it's actually invading Bengal, because Bengal is really powerful, has lots of allies, and there's a lot of river crossings here, which make fighting battles there, unless you're on the defensive, really tough. I actually jumped over here, and I invaded Japan next. I've also invaded China on my first run, and then went to Japan. Really doesn't make much difference. You want to try and align your invasion of China when they have no mandate. I actually invaded them when they had like 76 mandate both times. With the double morale, you can pretty easily win. I have a massive transport fleet, by the way, so I can land like 46 units at once. You do want to have some more carracks than I do, though, because the Ming Navy could still beat me up. But if you have like 6 to 10 carracks, I found you were pretty good. The way I did that was use burghers, draft ships for war. Pretty simple. Gives you a pretty big navy without having to spend tons of money on it. Obviously, you have to build the transport fleet, which I was doing the entire game. You pretty much want to move your fleet here with your heavy ships and your transport ships, declare war, quickly land, siege down Canton, then pretty much, if you can, maybe beat their armies. If not, load all the armies back in your transport ships, sail up, siege Beijing, take Beijing, and then usually by that time, if they haven't already taken Canton or you haven't beaten their armies, they'll usually split their armies, one to invade Beijing, the other one to invade Canton, and then you can just load your troops back into your ships up in Beijing, and if you defeated their navy or they're not attacking you, rush down, beat up their armies in Canton again, and that was, I think, like 26% war score, a couple battles, the 2 provinces, then ticking war score, obviously, and I was able to peace out for that. Another strategy for beating the Ming, if you're worried about that, is you take the Japanese provinces over here, which is pretty easy. You just declare war on the Ashikaga shogunate and usually take out the Usagi here, which in my 3 attempts at this, they always were the largest daimyo in Japan, and they were rebellious to the Ashikaga, so I didn't have to worry about them. So you declare war on them, siege down Kyoto, siege down Minao, and then rush over here and siege down Kozuke, and then you can peace out for Yokohama there. The reason that could be useful is if you invade the Ming and you have a strong army in Canton, sometimes the Ming will actually take their navy and their army and go invade your Japanese provinces because they know they're there, which makes the war even easier. And then taking Bengal itself is just a matter of having a large fleet, lots of troops, stacking Golden Age. I think I'm 2 techs ahead of them. Yeah, they were 8 when I started the war. You strike when you're 9, they're 8. Try to get a morale advisor. Currently now, there's the enable army drilling. You want to be drilling your armies constantly. I pretty much had an army sitting in Cornwall for most of the game with a general drilling so that I got army tradition, because the problem for you is you're going to run out of manpower, and the easiest way to get manpower now is first of all, nobility raise levies, papal proclaim holy war. That's one reason to stay Catholic. And the other one that's really useful is slacken recruiting standards, which gives you a large amount of manpower at the cost of army professionalism. When I started my wars of conquest, I didn't need it for my war against the Mamelukes. When I started my war of conquest against Bahamanis, I think I had about 22 army professionalism. As you can see, I've gone down. I got a couple events that helped, but after the war with the Ming, I had almost 32, I think, and then I just reduced army professionalism to rebuild my manpower and then invaded Bengal. I could have honestly waited, but I didn't want Bengal to get level 9 Miltech or to get like defensive ideas or something. Luckily, none of the enemies I fought actually took defensive ideas. It would have been a lot harder if they actually had. That's another one you could consider doing, is getting defensive ideas. Obviously, you're barely going to make it. I made it with 12 years to spare. So you could do it. You could get level 9 admin tech and then race down the defensive tree for an additional 20% morale. And at that point, your armies are pretty much unstoppable at this period of the game. So that's pretty much what I did. I'll just quickly show you the timeline and see if there's any other advice I can offer. So as you can see, I own Portugal's coast, Madeira, and that was my starting lands, obviously Tyrol and La Mancha. So just going to do this fairly quickly. So obviously I fought a war with England, which in some ways I didn't need to. Actually, I should let you know, one of the other things to watch out for is getting a union over either Portugal or Castile, because it can happen really easy early game. In my 3 times, I think I got a union over Portugal twice, once over Castile. So I almost got some this time. Obviously, I didn't. That can cause problems because you could end up fighting a war with either Castile, Portugal, France, Aragon, etc. So try to avoid that. So here's the colony there. There's the colony out here, St. Vincent. There's the colony down in the Cape. Oh wait, no, that isn't it. Oh shoot, sorry. I guess I shouldn't click on anything. My apologies. Cape Verde is now being colonized. There we go. Got St. Vincent being colonized. Got Cape being colonized. Gold Coast, then the Cape. Actually, I should really slow this down. There we go. I got Colombia. You know, actually, I'm going to restart this. Sorry. I really should have thought of this sooner. I'm not editing this video just because it doesn't seem worth it. So let's do this properly. I keep forgetting that it's such a short timeline. I really can't afford to put it on anything faster than like speed 2 or even 1. So I got to Cape Verde. When did I hit that? There we go. About 1450. At that point, I'd already fought the war with England, gained control of that land. I've actually already made it to London by 1467. Actually, I've made it all the way over to near Panama by 1470. Haven't made it to Cape because I've got to go through the Gold Coast first. I haven't fought the war with the Mamluks yet, but I'm going to fairly soon. I struck as pretty much as soon as I hit the Golden Age and got the other tech bonuses. Let's see, made it to Cape. There is, yeah, they were invading the Colonial. There's my strike on them, 1480 approximately. We've made it all the way over here to Mauritius, or Mauritius. We've also made it, we pretty much created Colombia over there. That was just because I was bored. We've already got Manhattan, but if you guys can't get to Manhattan, you probably shouldn't be trying to get the achievement. We've jumped all the way over here to Belitung. We are about to invade Ba'amanis. There we go. We've just invaded Ba'amanis, about 1500. We did get colonialism. What a surprise. And now we've just invaded Japan, 1504. We're going to be fighting a war with the Ming, approximately now. There we go. Yep. 1506, beat the Ming. We've already jumped over to here, got San Francisco, and then we beat Bengal. Bengal was the hardest part. That was about a 2-year war, so about 1510 I did that. So that is the achievement, and that is roughly how to do it. Obviously, you do have to make sure to juggle your estates. At the beginning of the game, you start out with having to distribute land to both the clergy and the nobility. Once you do that, actually, let me get rid of that. Never mind. You got to give land to them, and then you can exhort for monarch points. One sec. Sorry about that. Someone re-enabled my phone. And once you take the land, you obviously do the demand admin power, military power, and demand diplomatic. You want to try and take as much contributions as possible from the burghers. You want to try and develop both Tyrol and La Mancha at some point. That is, of course, why I have the negative inflation reduction. I'm still getting it, but the majority of my money is coming from gold, which is how I can finance the advisors I have. Fighting the war with England is something I really wouldn't have done if I had the choice. You want to definitely make sure you've got New World Charters as much as possible. You do have to repress the natives. If you're lucky, you get a Colonial Range Advisor, but he literally just appeared now at the end of the game. I tried re-rolling multiple times and never got him. So that's pretty much it. Avoid any wars in Europe other than maybe to control the islands here. And otherwise, you're pretty good. Another option is you take over all the British Isles, use a lot of your monarch points there, then jump down and take like Lisboa and then Madeira. Leave Portugal with more lands, but then you're risking having to compete with Portugal for colonial lands and colonialism. So hopefully that helps. Sorry for the couple mistakes I made. If you guys have any questions or comments about the way you did it, please leave them below. If you do enjoy this, please also subscribe. I have lots of other achievement videos for Europa. I'm going to keep doing them. If you've got any you want to see me do, please request those as well. Otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching this, and good luck. You'll need it.